Hello and welcome back. And now in this third section on solving linear equations, they're going to be a little bit more complicated and they'll be multi-step problems. And so there'll be a number of things that you got to do in order to get to the correct answer. So if we look at this problem, the first thing we got to do is multiply out right here using our distributive property. And so when I multiply that out, I have 3 times 2x, which is 6x. 3 times minus 1 is minus 3, equals 21. And so now when we look at this, this is just like the kind of problem that we saw in the previous section. So to solve it, we begin by adding 3 to both sides. And that gives me 6x equals 24. And then we multiply by a sixth, 1 over 6, and I get x is equal to 4. Okay, so 3 steps in solving that problem. So this is a typical type of linear equation. And what you want to notice is that we have expressions involving x on each side and constants on each side. And the general technique is by adding or subtracting, get all the x's on one side and all the numbers on the other side. In other words, we want to separate the x's and the constants. So I've put this down on the bottom so that you can read it. So to solve this problem, I'll begin by adding 5 to each side. And notice that that gives me 2x is equal to 5x plus 15. And now I want to subtract 5x from each side. That probably wasn't my best choice. It would have been better to get my x's with a positive coefficient, but no big deal. So now I have minus 3x equals 15. Multiply both sides by minus 1 over 3. And my solution is x is equal to minus 5. So the big solution, the big strategy here, right here on the bottom. Wow, so take a look at this one. Looks pretty complicated. And the big strategy here is simplify each side until it can't be simplified anymore. Then separate your x's and your constants and multiply by the coefficient before the x. So if I do that, I'm going to first go ahead and multiply out on the left, and I get 15 minus 6x plus 1 equals, I can do a little bit here. I can add the 7 and the 1, and I get 8 minus 4x. So what I need to do now is add the 15 and the 1, and so I get 16 minus 6x equals 8 minus 4x. So now here we are after 2 steps at that familiar place where I got to get all the x's on one side and all the numbers on the other side. And actually at this point I think I can do that in 1 step. And so what I'll do is add 6x to both sides. Notice that gets all the x expressions on the right, so I want to get rid of minus 8. So take a look at that. See how I can do 2 things in 1? So what I have on the left side, 16 minus 8 is 8, equals, see what I have over here? 2x. Multiply both sides by a half, and I get x is equal to 4. So we almost always want to write x on the left side, just by convention. So here on the bottom I've written down the general strategy. You want to perform operations on each side until each side is completely simplified. And that's what I did to here. So at this point each side is completely simplified. Then what we want to do is separate the x terms and the constants, and that's what we did to here, where we have all the x terms on one side and the constants on the other. And then finally we're going to multiply each side by the reciprocal of the coefficient on x, and that gives us our final solution. So take a second and look at that and make sure you follow it.